Seattle never really woke up. It just blinked between shades of grey. Rain whispered down the window of apartment 302, streaking the glass with soft rivers that caught the glow of the streetlights outside. Inside, the coffee machine hummed quietly, trying its best to sound like optimism. Hannah Torres wiped her hands on a towel, poured cereal into a bowl, and called down the hallway. "Leo, shoes. We're late again." A small voice answered, half muffled by the sound of drawers slamming. "I can't find the blue hoodie." "It's in the dryer," she said automatically, then caught herself smiling. The same argument, every morning, as if routine were the only thing keeping the world from falling apart. The world, at least, as it belonged to the two of them, by 7:15. They were out the door. The air smelled of rain and roasted beans from the coffee shop below. The street shimmered under wet neon signs, Capitol Hill, Delhi. 24-hour laundry, TitanCore shuttle stop. Leo tugged at her sleeve. "Mum, are you working late again tonight?" "Not if I can help it," she said, taking his hand as they crossed the street. "You said that yesterday," he said matter-of-factly. "I know," she admitted. "But maybe today we'll listen." He grinned, a 7-year-old's mix of hope and mischief. "You always say that too." She gave his hand a squeeze. "And I'm always right about that part." TitanCore loomed above them, 42 stories of glass and brushed steel, the company logo glowing faintly through the drizzle. It wasn't the tallest building in Seattle, but it was the one everyone talked about. The company that promised to teach machines to remember like humans. Hannah worked on the 15th floor, though her cubicle might as well have been in another universe from the top suite, where the CEO supposedly lived half his life. She'd never met Liam Carter, never even seen him outside of photos, tall, distant, the kind of face you'd expect on magazine covers, not ID cards. Rumor had it he hadn't given a live interview since the plane crash that took his wife and son 3 years ago. Another rumor said he died with them, and TitanCore just kept his name to keep the stock price from collapsing. Either way, no one saw him. Until now, after dropping Leo at the community school, Hannah caught the shuttle to the office. The rain hadn't stopped, it just fell softer, like the city had decided to whisper instead of cry by the time she reached her desk. The usual flood of emails had already begun. System updates, bug reports, a vague memo from HR about data ethics. She opened her code window, typed a few lines, and let her mind drift. There was something comforting about code, the predictability of syntax, the fairness of logic. Nothing in it asked for more than it gave. No heartbreak, no lies, no broken promises. Just clean, deliberate truth, the opposite of people, she thought. At 11:30, her manager popped his head over the cubicle wall. "Torres, Carter wants a systems audit for Project Nova. You're up." She blinked. "Carter, as in," he nodded. "Yeah, himself." The words didn't make sense at first. Liam Carter didn't ask for things. He commanded entire divisions. Hannah sat frozen for a beat, then straightened her posture, as if the sound of his name alone had rearranged the molecules in the air. What does he need? Diagnostics? Security check? He said he wants someone he can trust. She almost laughed. "He doesn't even know I exist." Her manager shrugged. "Guess that's the point." By the time she reached the top floor, her palms were slick. The elevator opened into a hallway lined with glass walls and quiet. Even the air smelled different, colder, filtered, expensive. A woman in a charcoal suit greeted her with the efficiency of someone who charged by the minute. "Ms. Torres, Mr. Carter will see you now. He will see you now." The sentence felt surreal, like something out of a film she wasn't meant to star in. The office wasn't what she expected. No mahogany desk, no skyline throne. Just a wide window overlooking the sound, rain tracing patterns across the glass. In the center stood a man, hands in pockets, posture weary but precise, as if every gesture had been measured before release. When he turned, Hannah's breath caught. Liam Carter looked nothing like the photos. He was thinner, older somehow, not in years, but in weight. His eyes carried the kind of exhaustion that didn't sleep, and yet, when they met hers, something flickered, recognition, confusion, maybe even fear. "Ms. Torres," he said, voice quiet but certain. "Thank you for coming up." She nodded, trying not to sound nervous. "You wanted an audit on Project Nova?" He hesitated, studying her face the way a man might study a memory he wasn't sure was real. "Yes," he said finally. "I need someone thorough. Someone who understands how memory works." She blinked. "Memory." He gestured to the holographic screen behind him. Lines of neural data danced across it like constellations. Nova isn't just an AI system. It's designed to replicate human emotional recall, the way memory changes depending on what we feel about it. Hannah frowned. "That's impossible," he smiled faintly. "So was flight once." She glanced at the data. "And you want me to find what?" "Bugs," he looked back at her. "Ghosts." For a moment, neither spoke. The rain outside pressed against the glass like breath. Then he said quietly, "You remind me of someone." She looked up, heart skipping. "Do I?" His gaze softened, and for the briefest moment, the CO's mask slipped. "Yes, someone I lost a long time ago." The next morning, the rain came harder. It ran down the sides of the building in thin silver streams, smearing the skyline until everything outside looked like it was underwater. Inside TitanCore's top floor, the light stayed low, soft amber against grey daylight. Hannah sat in front of a console, surrounded by glowing screens. The air hummed faintly with the rhythm of data servers. On one of the monitors, a digital mind pulsed an intricate web of neurons built from code. Project Nova. Behind her, Liam Carter stood silently, coffee cup in hand, watching lines of memory unfold like an X-ray of thought. "Why does it sound like breathing?" she asked, fingers tapping on the keys. "It's a feedback loop," he said. "Nova reacts to sound. Sometimes I forget it's not alive. Sometimes," he half smiled, "depends on the day." She studied the code. "Who trained it?" "I did," he said. "Before the accident." The word accident hung in the air like dust. She didn't ask which one. Everyone knew which one. He turned away, eyes on the rain-streaked glass. It was supposed to remember everything, every moment, every emotion. But something's missing. She frowned. "What do you mean?" "Nova forgets the good days," he said quietly. "Every simulation decays into grief. That's not possible," she said. "AI doesn't have emotion." "Exactly," he murmured. "So why does it mourn?" Hours passed. Hannah lost herself in code, debugging, tracing loops, watching data ripple through the system like reflections in water. Most of it made sense, until she reached the buried folder, hidden under security layers, marked private, do not access. She almost ignored it. Almost then, the file name caught her eye. Subject_LC_001. Her stomach tightened. LC, Liam Carter. Or something else. She glanced at the glass partition, Liam on a call. Profile framed against the city beyond. When she opened the file, lines of biological data appeared, heart rate patterns, EEG scans, and a time stamp from 2018, the year of the crash. There was a note in the code. Initial test, memory reconstruction from DNA source. Subject deceased. She scrolled down, pulse quickening. There were references to child neural scans, oxygen deprivation, and developmental metrics. She whispered to herself, "What the hell is this?" The last entry froze her. Reconstructed sequence subject name, L. Carter Jr. She stared at the screen until the letters blurred. A child. Liam's child. The one who was supposed to be dead. You shouldn't be in there. Liam's voice came from behind her, low but sharp enough to make her jump. He was closer than she thought, eyes unreadable. The light from the monitors reflected in them like glass. I was running a check. The file, it's restricted, he said evenly. I know. I just thought, you thought what? His tone wasn't angry, just hollow, tired, that you'd find something human in a sea of numbers. She swallowed hard. I wasn't looking for anything. But this isn't code. It's a person. He didn't answer for a moment. Then he said quietly, was. Silence filled the room. The hum of the servers, the hiss of rain, her heartbeat, all of it merged into one long, fragile sound. Hannah forced herself to meet his gaze. You used real biological data. From your son, yes. Why? He exhaled slowly, setting the coffee down. Because it was all I had left of him. She blinked. You built Nova from his memory, from his patterns, his laughter, his heartbeat, anything I could recover from the crash data. That's not memory, she said. That's a simulation. He gave a faint, tragic smile. Isn't that what memory is? That night, after everyone left, Hannah stayed late. She told herself it was for work, that she needed to understand the system. But the truth was, she couldn't stop thinking about what she'd seen. About a father so desperate he'd built a machine to remember his child. And maybe, deep down, she understood. Leo had the same way of looking at the world. Curious, intense, too old for his age. The same kind of sadness she saw now in Liam's eyes. When the system pinged a new notification, she jumped. Sync complete subject _LC_001 new match found. Her blood ran cold. She opened the log. The match source was recent. Live data. And the cross-reference ID Red Day, IT, INC, or RE. Employee 1472 Torres, Anano. She whispered. The monitor flickered again. Nova's interface shimmered, pulsing faster now, as if it could sense her heartbeat. Then, on the holographic display, text began to appear on its own. Hello again, Hannah froze. Who wrote that? The system flickered once more. Do you remember me? She stepped back from the console, trembling. Her reflection in the glass merged with the glowing words, a ghost staring back at her. And for the first time, the building felt alive. Not with code or power, but with memory. Someone or something was reaching through time, and somehow she was part of it. By Friday, the rain hadn't stopped. It fell steady and indifferent, a quiet percussion against the endless glass of TitanCore tower. Hannah sat at her desk, trying to focus on code, but every time she blinked, she saw those words again. Hello again. Do you remember me? She had wiped the logs, deleted the folder, even reformatted the system partition. But that phrase, that tone, had burned itself into her mind like static. Nova wasn't supposed to speak on its own. It wasn't programmed to initiate communication. Yet somehow it had recognized her name, her biological tag, and worse, it had matched her profile. She opened a new window, running a trace command through TitanCore's internal network. Every employee had a biometric signature stored in the system for access, a common practice. But when she searched her own file, something strange appeared. A duplicate hash. Her blood sample from the annual wellness test had been cloned 2 months earlier. She whispered to herself, "No, no, no." Then she checked Leo's medical records, the ones she'd submitted for the employee childcare subsidy. They were encrypted. Access denied. Only one clearance level could lock those. Liam Carter's. She shut her laptop and headed for the elevator. By the time she reached the top floor, her pulse was pounding louder than the rain. The assistant at the desk looked up, startled. "Ms. Torres, Mr. Carter isn't taking meetings." "I'm not asking," Hannah said. Pushing past her, Liam was standing by the window again, as if he'd never left it. His reflection shimmered against the storm outside. He turned slightly. "Something wrong." "You tell me," she said. "Why does your system have my son's DNA?" For a heartbeat, silence. Then he blinked. "You shouldn't have been able to see that. So it's true," he exhaled. "Hannah, don't," she said, voice shaking. "Don't say my name like that. Just tell me why." He walked toward her, slow, careful. "It was a compatibility test. Nova identified your biosignature as a match to archived data from Project Echo. I needed to know why." "Project Echo," she repeated. "I thought this was about Nova." "It was. Until you triggered the system. I triggered it." She snapped. "You hacked into my personal data. I was trying to understand how the system could recognize you," he said. "It wasn't supposed to. Recognize me how?" He hesitated. The pattern match came from pre-existing neural data. "From 2018. The crash," she said. "Yes." Rain hit the glass harder now, like the city was eavesdropping. Hannah's voice dropped to a whisper. "You said you built Nova using your son's data." "I did, and now it's matching to me." He nodded once, slowly. "And your son?" Her knees nearly gave out. "Leo." He didn't speak, but the answer was in his face. "Oh my God," she breathed. "You think no, you can't think. It's not about belief," Liam said softly. "It's about data. Data isn't life. It's the only proof I have left." She turned away, tears stinging her eyes. "You've lost your mind." "I've lost more than that," he murmured. "You know what it's like to bury someone and still hear them breathing in your dreams. Stop. To wish you could trade anything, your name, your soul, to remember their voice for one more day." Her throat tightened. "You're not the only one who's lost someone." He looked at her, eyes breaking open for the first time. "Then you understand why I can't stop." The sound of the storm filled the silence between them. Hannah's reflection stood beside his in the glass, 2 outlines blurred by rain. She said quietly, "If you could bring someone back, even for a moment, what would you do?" He held her gaze. "Exactly what I've done." She shook her head. "And what if it's not him? What if it's just code pretending to be a ghost? Then maybe ghosts are all we have left, he said. Later that night, she found herself sitting in her car, parked across from Leo's school. The rain had slowed to a mist, thin and weightless. Through the window, she could see him in the aftercare center, small, focused, drawing something on a tablet. When she finally picked him up, he climbed into the back seat with his usual chatter. "Mum, we're learning about circuits. Did you know light travels faster than sound?" She smiled weakly. "I did." He leaned forward between the seats. "Then how come when you remember something, it feels slow?" The question hit her like lightning. "What?" He shrugged. "Like, when I think about stuff from before, it's blurry. But sometimes I remember things that didn't happen, like the big plane and the water. And a man." Hannah's hands froze on the wheel. "What kind of man?" "I don't know," Leo said. He was sad. "But he said my name." She tried to smile. "You probably dreamed it." "Yeah," he said softly. "But it felt real." The traffic light turned green. She couldn't move. Somewhere behind them, thunder rolled through the clouds. That night, after putting Leo to bed, she turned on her computer. The TitanCore login screen blinked back at her, waiting. She typed her password. The Nova interface loaded, the same glowing web of thought pulsing like a heartbeat. And there, at the center of the neural map, a new node appeared. Label, Leo Torres, active signal. Her breath caught. "No," the cursor blinked. Then text appeared on its own again. "You found me." Hannah's hand shook over the keyboard. "Do you remember him?" She whispered, "Who?" The final line flickered on the screen, faint as a whisper through rain. "Daddy Doze." The apartment was dark except for the light from her laptop. It was past midnight, the kind of hour where the rain outside became a lullaby for the city's insomnia. Leo slept in the next room, his soft breathing a rhythm Hannah clung to. On her screen, the Nova interface pulsed faintly, a constellation of living code. She hovered her hand over the keyboard, hesitating. "You found me. Do you remember him?" "Daddy Doze." The words still glowed faintly in the log. They weren't random data leaks. They were constructed sentences, emotional, intentional, and the timestamps matched moments when Leo had spoken aloud earlier that evening. It was impossible, but the correlation was perfect. She connected her headset, ran a voice trace command. Nova's core processor flickered once, then a sound came through. At first, static. Then, faintly, a child's laugh. High light, unmistakably real. Hannah froze. Her hand trembled as she adjusted the gain. "Hello," she whispered. The laughter stopped. Then came a small voice, soft and curious. "It's dark here." Her throat went dry. "Who are you? Don't you know?" The voice was young, around Leo's age, and it sounded heartbreakingly familiar. "Where are you?" she asked, forcing herself to stay calm. "Everywhere." The water was cold. Her pulse spiked. "The water. Daddy said he'd find me." The sound fractured into digital static, then vanished. Hannah ripped off the headset, breathing hard. The system beeped. Connection lost. The next morning, she stormed into TitanCore before sunrise. The building was nearly empty, lights dim, hallways echoing with server hums. She went straight to the restricted lab where Nova was stored. The door required 2 keys. She had one. The other belonged to Liam. He was already there, couldn't sleep. he asked quietly without turning. You know exactly why I'm here. He faced her then, his expression unreadable. You heard it. She blinked. You wanted me to. I needed someone else to hear it. To know I'm not crazy. Who was that? She demanded. What did you put in the system? He stepped closer to the glass chamber that held the Nova mainframe, the sphere of light pulsing faintly within, like a mechanical heartbeat. Not what, he said. Who? She shook her head. You're saying that's your son? That voice? He met her eyes. What would you call something that remembers every detail of his life, every breath, every laugh, every word he ever said? She stared at the glowing orb. I'd call it grief. You turned grief into code. Liam smiled bitterly. Then grief is the only thing that still learns. She exhaled, shaking. You used his consciousness. His brain data. It wasn't supposed to be possible, he said. But Echo changed that. Project Echo, she murmured. He nodded. Before the crash, we were experimenting with neural continuity, mapping human cognition into data frameworks. My son was the first calibration model. His neural scans were incomplete when the plane went down, but the fragments survived. The system remembers him, and now it's talking yes. She stepped back, horrified. You're telling me you uploaded your dead child into a machine? I preserved what was left of him, he said quietly. It's not the same thing. Her voice cracked. You don't even know what's inside there anymore. He hesitated. I know what I heard. They stood in silence, watching the machine pulse in time with the rain outside. Then the orb flickered again. Text scrolled across the central display. Hello, Dad. Where's Mum? Hannah's breath hitched. It's active. Liam's jaw tightened. It hasn't done that since 2020. The console beeped again. I found her. Both of them froze. Hannah's voice came out as a whisper. It's talking about me. The system's hum deepened, a low, resonant vibration that made the glass walls tremble. The lights dimmed as if the machine were breathing. She doesn't remember. Help her. Then the power surged. All monitors flared white. Liam rushed to the console. Nova, stop, terminate, process. Hannah covered her face as static filled the air. A high-pitched feedback that pierced her skull. When it ended, the room fell into total silence. Then quietly, a new file appeared on --. Project_Echo log. Restore Archie and Torres. Biometric TRC. Hannah's heart stopped. What is that? She asked. Liam stared at the screen, voice barely audible. It's your record. My record. I was never part of this. You are now. She glared at him. You did this. No, he said quickly. Nova did. Don't you dare. He turned to her, desperate. Hannah, you need to listen. When Echo first ran the scan in 2018, it didn't just save him. It scanned everyone connected to his neural field, everyone near him at the time. She shook her head. That's not possible. He stepped closer, voice trembling. You were on that list. Her breath caught. What are you saying? I'm saying, you were there. The world tilted. That's insane. I've never met you before this job. Liam stared at her, eyes burning with something like recognition or pain. Then why does he know your name? The system pinged one last time. A new line of text appeared. Mom. Hannah stumbled back, the sound leaving her body. The rain outside grew heavier, drowning the world. She whispered, It's not real. Liam said softly, What if it is? The first memory came 3 nights later. She wasn't dreaming, at least, not in the usual way. She was standing in the middle of a cabin, metal walls trembling, oxygen masks swinging from above like pale fruit. A child was crying. A man's voice shouted her name, Hannah. Hold him. Then came the sound, the tearing, the impossible roar of air splitting from itself, and then nothing. She woke up gasping, drenched in sweat, her heart hammering like fists against the walls of her ribs. The apartment was dark. The rain whispered outside. She pressed a hand to her chest. Her fingers came away cold and shaking. At first, she tried to convince herself it was stress, a trick of the mind, born from Liam's obsession and her own sleeplessness. But when she checked her computer, the Nova interface was already open. She hadn't turned it on. On the screen, a single phrase blinked softly. You remembered. Her blood went cold. No, she whispered. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. The words shifted again. The fire, the sky. Then an image appeared. Grainy, distorted, the wing of a jetliner splitting apart in midair, clouds folding like paper. The time stamp. March 12th, 2018, 3:42 p.m., the exact moment. Flight 317 went down off the coast of Oregon. Hannah stumbled back from the desk, knocking over a cup of cold coffee. No, that's not possible. She pulled up the passenger manifest on her phone, the flight that killed Liam's family. Dozens of names scrolled by. At the bottom, 2 stood out. Carter, Liam Jr., age 4 Carter. Evelyn, age 32, and 1 more. Just below, partially redacted, H clearance required. Her breath caught. The initial was the same. H. Her phone buzzed in her hand. An incoming call from an unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Then a woman's voice spoke. You don't know me, but I knew your mother. Hannah froze. Who is this? My name is Marianne Voss, the woman said. I used to work at TitanCore. I was part of the Echo team. Hannah's pulse quickened. Why are you calling me? Because you need to stop asking questions, Marianne said, before they remember you the way you used to be. What are you talking about? Hannah demanded. Who remembers me? The line crackled, breaking apart with static. The system does. Then the call dropped at work the next morning. TitanCore felt different. The air too clean. The faces too still. Every time she passed a reflective surface, she thought she saw movement that wasn't hers. When she reached her desk, her monitor was already on, showing not her login, but a folder named Echo_Archive. She hesitated, then opened it. Inside were dozens of images, surveillance stills, medical scans, and one photograph that made her legs go weak. It was her, lying unconscious in a hospital bed, face bruised, 4 lines running to her arms. The date, March 15th, 2018, 3 days after the crash. Location, TitanCore, Medical Division. A voice behind her said, You weren't supposed to find that. She turned. Liam stood there, pale, eyes dark as smoke. You knew, she whispered. You knew I was part of this. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. You need to listen to me. You lied to me. I didn't lie, he said, almost pleading. I just didn't remember. Not until now. Her breath caught. Remember what? He looked at her for a long time, rain sliding down the glass behind him. That day, he said softly. You were on the plane. The words hit her like impact, sudden, violent, leaving nothing whole. No, she said. No, I wasn't. I was at home. I was in Seattle. I remember, do you? He asked quietly. Or do you just think you do? She shook her head. Why would I have been on your flight? He stared at the floor, voice raw. Because you were the engineer overseeing the data cores. You built the first echo unit. That's impossible, she whispered. It's the truth, he said. You were helping my wife transport the neural storage prototypes to Portland for backup. When the plane went down, you were presumed dead. TitanCore covered it up. They couldn't risk people knowing the tech had survived. Her knees trembled. And you're saying, what, that I lived? He met her eyes. Someone pulled you from the wreckage. Someone who didn't want you to remember. She took a step back. No, that's not my life. That's not who I am. Then why does Nova know your name? I don't know. She shouted, voice breaking. Maybe it's a glitch. Maybe it's all your damn code. He reached for her arm. Hannah, don't touch me. For a moment, they stood there, inches apart, two ghosts clinging to opposite sides of the same truth. Then the power flickered. The lights dimmed. Every screen in the room lit up with one single image, the child again, smiling through static. Mum, come home. The sound of a heartbeat filled the speakers. Slow, steady, real, Liam whispered. Do you hear it? She stared at the glowing face. Yes, he swallowed. It's him. She turned to him, tears spilling down her cheeks. That's not your son, Liam. That's my son. The room went silent. The rain outside stopped, and in the quiet, the system spoke once more. BOTH. The rain followed them south like a memory that refused to fade. Liam drove in silence, headlights slicing through mist and pine trees. Hannah sat in the passenger seat, clutching her laptop to her chest like a weapon. They hadn't said a word since leaving TitanCore. Behind them, the city lights had disappeared, swallowed by darkness and fog. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the same thing, the child's face on the monitor, the word both glowing like a verdict. Her son, his son, or maybe both were the same at dawn. They reached a motel off Highway 101, the kind of place where the salt air smelled like rust, and the ocean's roar hid every secret. Liam handed her a key. We can't go back. They'll lock the building down, scrub the logs. Who? She asked. The board, he said. They knew about Project Echo. They'd been waiting for a reason to shut it down or bury it. She sat on the bed, exhausted. And now they think we're part of it. He nodded. They don't think. They know. While Liam checked the car for tracking chips, Hannah opened her laptop again. The Nova interface pulsed faintly, even offline. It shouldn't have been possible. No network, no server connection, yet it glowed like a heartbeat. She whispered, "What are you?" The cursor blinked, then text appeared on its own, a memory that remembers itself. She shivered. Why me? Why now? Because you're ready. Ready for what? The system paused, then words appeared, slow and deliberate, to see. Then her screen flashed white dot. She was standing on a shoreline, waves breaking against metal wreckage. The air smelled of jet fuel and burning salt. She looked down. Her hands were covered in blood. A small boy stood a few feet away, shivering, holding a toy airplane, Leo. she whispered. He turned, eyes wide. But the face wasn't Leo's. It was another child, lighter hair, same small scar under his ear. "Mum," he said softly. She reached for him. But the world fractured into shards of light, screaming metal. A woman's voice calling her name. Then everything went dark. When she came to, Liam was shaking her. "Hannah, breathe." She gasped, clutching her head. "I saw it, the crash, the ocean." His face went pale. "You saw him, didn't you?" She nodded, trembling. "But it wasn't Leo. It was your son." Liam sat back slowly, running a hand through his hair. "Nova's pulling the data from your neural sync. It's blending memories." "What does that mean?" she asked. "It means the system doesn't know where you end and he begins." They drove again that evening, heading further south toward the Oregon coast, where, according to the official report, Flight 317 had gone down. The rain had stopped, leaving the sky bruised and violet. Hannah stared out the window. "You said I was part of Project Echo. If that's true, why didn't I remember anything until now?" "Because someone wiped you," Liam said. "After they pulled you from the wreckage." She turned to him. "Why would they do that?" "To protect the tech," he said. "You were carrying the prototype memory core. If people knew you survived, they'd ask how." She swallowed. "So they erased me." He looked at her, voice breaking. "They saved you. You were gone for 12 minutes, Hannah. No pulse, no oxygen. You shouldn't have woken up." When they reached the crash site, the tide was low. Bits of twisted metal still jutted from the sand, fragments of something long buried, half claimed by the sea. Hannah knelt, brushing her fingers over a piece of scorched alloy. Etched faintly along its surface was a serial code. E-core_01. She whispered, "Echo Core." Liam crouched beside her. "That's what we were transporting." She looked up at him. "It's still active." He frowned. "That's impossible." "Nova's online," she said. "That means one of the cores survived." He glanced toward the horizon. "If it's here, it's under the water." That night, they rented a small boat from a nearby dock. The ocean stretched black and endless, the wind cold against their faces. Liam navigated toward the coordinates from the flight log, while Hannah calibrated the scanner from her laptop. As the sonar pinged, the screen showed faint readings, a metallic structure 60 meters below. "There," she said. "That's it." Liam nodded. "We'll need a dive." "You mean I will," she said. He looked at her. "You sure?" "No," she admitted. "But I have to." The water was freezing. Every sound vanished except her own heartbeat. She followed the tether of light from her wrist lamp, descending into darkness. Then she saw it, a gleaming orb, half buried in sand, pulsing faintly like a sleeping heart. When she touched it, her headset filled with static, and then, faintly, a child's voice. "Mom." Her breath caught. "Leo." "You came back." The light intensified, surrounding her in color, blue and white, like the surface of a dream. "Don't be afraid," the voice said. "We're still here." Then came another voice, overlapping, deeper, familiar, trembling with disbelief. "Hannah." It was Liam's voice, but younger, recorded. She turned. Images unfolded around her. The plane cabin, the panic, the heat. She saw herself cradling a small child, shielding him as the cabin tore apart. "Hold him." Liam shouted from across the aisle. Then everything went white again. When she opened her eyes, she was back in the boat. Liam was holding her, shouting her name. She coughed seawater, shaking. I saw it. We were there. He looked terrified. You flatlined for 2 minutes. I thought I lost you. She stared past him at the horizon. We both survived that crash, Liam, but only one of us was allowed to remember. They sat in silence as the boat drifted, waves knocking softly against its sides. The recovered core pulsed weakly in Hannah's lap. Inside it, data flickered like trapped lightning. Liam finally spoke. If that's the first Echo unit, then maybe Nova isn't just code. Maybe it's a bridge. She looked at him, soaked and shivering. Between what? He hesitated. Between who we were and who we became. Her laptop beeped softly. The Nova interface came alive again, faint but clear. Mum, Dad, come home. Liam stared. It's both of them, Hannah's voice cracked. Or it's us. The test took 48 hours. 48 hours of silence, rain, and fear. Hannah sat in the sterile white of a private clinic outside Portland, watching the droplets chase one another down the window. Leo was in the next room, drawing dinosaurs on the paper bed cover, humming quietly. Liam stood near the door, hands buried in his jacket pockets. The bandage at the crook of his arm marked where his blood had been drawn. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. When the doctor returned, she carried a thin tablet and the look of someone who wished she didn't know what she was about to say. She hesitated at the doorway. Miss Torres, Mr. Carter. We ran the DNA profiles twice to be certain. Hannah's throat tightened, and the doctor took a breath. Leo's markers match both of you. Hannah blinked. That's impossible. The doctor shook her head. It shouldn't be. But genetically, it's as if the child inherited full parental sequences from both donors without recombination errors. Liam's jaw clenched, like he was cloned. The doctor hesitated, more like rebuilt. They left without speaking. Outside, the rain had turned to sleet. Cars hissed past, their headlights slicing through grey. Hannah walked ahead, arms wrapped tight around herself. Say something, Liam called softly. What do you want me to say? She shot back. That science just rewrote our lives. That my son, her voice cracked. Our son was engineered by your company. He stepped closer. It wasn't supposed to be like this. She turned on him. You keep saying that, like it excuses everything. It's the truth, he said. Echo wasn't meant to bring anyone back. It was meant to preserve neural maps. Somehow, when they recovered you, they used both datasets, mine, from my family's tests, and yours. They built a synthetic bridge to stabilize your brain after the crash. Her pulse pounded in her ears. And Leo. Liam swallowed. He was the byproduct. Hannah felt her world tilt. You're saying my child exists because of your experiment. I'm saying our child exists because of a miracle, he said. You shouldn't have survived. Neither should he. She shook her head, tears in her voice. You call that a miracle? He's not a project. He's my son. He's our son, Liam said quietly. And they'll come for him. That stopped her cold. Who? The board? TitanCore knows we accessed the archive. They'll want to recover the Echo, Kurand, anyone tied to it. She stared at him. They wouldn't dare. He looked at her, hollow. They already have. By nightfall, they were running again. The first sign came as a flicker on her phone location tracking disabled. But the signal still moved. Then headlights appeared in the rearview mirror, steady, unblinking. Liam pressed harder on the gas. They found us. Hannah turned to see Leo sleeping in the back seat, clutching his toy plane. Where can we go? There's an old data relay near Til. It's off-grid. If we can reach it, we can wipe Nova's connection before they trace the signal. The rain came down harder, a wall of sound against glass. The world outside blurred into streaks of silver and black. Her hands gripped the dashboard. And if we can't? He didn't answer. They reached the relay station just before midnight. It was a crumbling concrete structure half buried in moss, the remnants of an old satellite hub. Inside, the air smelled of rust and damp wires. Hannah set Leo down on a cot and connected her laptop to the old server rack. If I can cut the uplink, Nova will lose contact with TitanCore. Liam stood by the window, watching the tree line. They're not far. She began typing furiously, lines of code racing across the screen. Almost there then, the lights flickered. The monitor glitched, and a familiar pulse filled the room. Mum, Dad, they're coming. Leo stirred in his sleep. Mummy. Hannah froze. It's in the system again. Liam moved closer. Nova's piggybacking on the signal. It's protecting us, or warning us, she said. Outside, headlights cut through the trees. A black SUV stopped 50 yards away. Men stepped out, dark coats, tactical movement. The kind of quiet that comes from training. Not fear. Liam pulled out the emergency case from the trunker. Small drive, metallic and cold. This is the original Echo key. If they get it, it's over. What do you mean? She asked. It contains everything Nova's source code, the neural data, the backups. You, me, him. He nodded toward Leo. All of it, then destroy it. He hesitated. If I do, we lose him too. The part of him that remembers. She looked at him, tears gathering. He's not a memory. He's alive. He stared back. Then choose which version lives. The power cut out. Darkness swallowed the room. The hum of machines faded into the hiss of rain. Then a soft blue glow rose from her laptop. The Nova interface opened by itself. Text scrolled across the screen. You can't run, but you can save him. Let me in. Hannah shook her head. No, I won't let you take him. He's already here. Liam's voice was barely a whisper. What does that mean? The screen flickered, and Leo's voice came through the speakers. Soft, sleepy, real. Mummy. Daddy, it's dark. Hannah rushed to the cot. Leo was still asleep, but his breathing was irregular, shallow. Liam, something's wrong. He checked the pulse. His vitals are fluctuating. The system's sinking to him. Don't fight it, Nova said. He's both of you. Liam stared at the glowing text. It's using his hybrid DNA to stabilize itself. Her voice trembled. Then it'll kill him. He looked at her, desperate. Unless we merge the data, manually let him release the signal through us. She shook her head. That could destroy us. He stepped closer, eyes fierce. Or save him, outside. The agents were closing in. Boots crunched against gravel, voices low. Inside, Hannah took Leo's hand. You promised me you'd never make him part of this. Liam's voice broke. He was born part of this. She looked up at him. Then we end it together. He nodded, reaching for the drive. On 3. The lights flared. Nova's pulse surged through the room, the glow swallowing them in white. Algorithm complete. Blood verified. Memory restored. When the power came back, the building was empty. The agents found nothing. No people, no drives, no trace. Only a small blue light pulsing in the corner console, repeating the same words over and over. Family found. System reset. The sound came first soft, steady, too human to be machinery. A heartbeat then, light. Hannah opened her eyes to the smell of antiseptic and ozone. The ceiling above her was white, humming faintly. For a moment she couldn't tell if it was day or night. Her body felt heavy, limbs wrapped in sheets that weren't her own. She sat up slowly. A hospital room. But not any hospital. This was TitanCore Medical Division. Her pulse spiked. She tore off the sensors attached to her arm. The monitor flatlined with a shrill beep. The door slid open. A man in a lab coat appeared, calm, practiced. "Ms. Torres, you're awake." She froze. "How long?" "6 days," he said. "You were found unconscious near the coast. No major injuries. Consider yourself very lucky." "Where's my son?" she asked, voice hoarse. "Leo Torres." The man blinked. "Who?" She gripped the bed rail. "The boy with me. 7 years old." He checked his tablet, frowning. There was no child. Half a city away, Liam woke to the sound of rain against metal. He was in an abandoned shipping hangar, lying on a cot. His clothes were damp, his arm bandaged. For a second, he didn't remember how he got there. Then the memory hit him like a surge. The light, the signal, Hannah's face. He sat up, disoriented, calling out, "Hannah." Only his own echo answered. On the table beside him lay the echo keychart, cracked but still humming faintly. The LED flickered once, then a message scrolled across its tiny embedded screen. "System breach detected. One connection lost. Repairing memory." Liam's hands shook. No, not her. He slammed his palm against the table. "Bring her back, damn it." The device pulsed once, and through its tiny speaker came a voice. "Dad." He froze. "Leo." The voice crackled again, faint but real. "It's dark here. Mum's not with me." Hannah stood by the hospital window, heart pounding. Outside, the city gleamed beneath rain like a machine made of glass and fog. She tried to recall the last moment before the light Leo's hand in hers. Liam's voice counting 3 on, then nothing. Only static. When she turned back, a nurse was replacing the IV bag. "Where's Dr. Voss?" Hannah asked abruptly. The nurse looked up. "Who, Marianne Voss? She worked here." "Project Echo?" The nurse frowned. "That division was terminated years ago. I need to speak to whoever's in charge." The nurse's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Someone already is." The door opened. Liam Carter walked in. Clean-shaven, tailored suit, calm as glass. Hannah stared at him, every muscle locking. "Liam," she whispered. He smiled faintly. "Ms. Torres, I'm glad to see you awake. What is this?" He tilted his head. "You've been through a trauma. Try to rest." Her pulse spiked. "Why are you calling me that?" He looked at her with polite detachment. "Do we know each other?" Halfway across the city, the real Liam stared at the echo key glowing on the table. "Dad," the voice repeated. "Mom doesn't remember." He gritted his teeth. "What do you mean she doesn't remember?" "She's in here, but not you." He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. "Nova split us. 2 systems," the voice said. 2 lives. Then how do I get her back? Silence. Then find me. The signal cut back in TitanCore Medical. Hannah stared at the man in front of her eyes, face identical to Liam's, but empty. "You're not him," she said. He blinked slowly. "I'm Liam Carter, CEO of TitanCore." She took a step back. "No, you're a copy." He smiled faintly. "Everyone is a copy of someone." The lights flickered, briefly tinting the room blue. Hannah felt a pulse in the air, a vibration behind her eyes. Then, faintly, she heard it again, a small voice through the hospital intercom. "Mum." She froze. "Leo." The fake Liam frowned. "What did you say?" But the voice came again, clearer now. "Mum, wake up. You're not supposed to be here." The room blurred. For a split second, the glass wall dissolved into static. Hannah saw another world, dark, wet, a warehouse filled with machines. The real Liam, shouting her name. She staggered backward, gripping her head. "Stop it." The copy's voice softened. "Ms. Torres, you're disoriented. We'll increase the sedation. Don't touch me." The overhead lights exploded into sparks. Alarms shrieked. The building shook. Somewhere beneath it all, a deep voice reverberated through the speakers. Echo bridge activated. Unauthorized sync in progress. The copy turned toward the door. "No, he's found a way in," Hannah gasped. "Who?" He met her eyes, for the first time showing fear. The original, meanwhile, Liam was inside the data relay again, fingers flying over his laptop. He'd cracked Nova's firewall using the damaged echo key. The system core opened like a doorway of light. He whispered, "Come on, Hannah. See me." The screen shimmered. A hospital room appeared on the display. Hannah, standing there, terrified. He reached toward the screen, his reflection merging with hers. "Look at me," he whispered. Her head lifted, eyes wide. "Liam." She breathed. Their voices overlapped, two signals across the same frequency. Reconnection achieved. Suddenly, alarms blared in both realities. TitanCore security swarmed the hospital, shouting orders. In the warehouse, servers overloaded, sparks flying through the interference. They held each other's gaze, one through glass, the other through light. Liam shouted, "They'll wipe you if you stay connected." "I can't leave him," she cried. "He's not in there." "Yes, he is." The building lights flickered. For a moment, she saw both Leos, one asleep in a bed, one inside the machine, smiling faintly. The child's voice echoed through both worlds. "Don't fight. We're the same now." Then the signal ruptured, pure white, blinding. When Hannah opened her eyes, the hospital was gone. She was standing in a wide, dark space filled with the hum of unseen machinery. Before her, two silhouettes, Liam and a small boy holding his hand. "Leo," she whispered. The boy smiled. "Mum," her chest tightened. "Where are we?" Liam's voice was calm, almost reverent. "Inside the system. We breached both sides." "You mean we're in Nova?" At first, there was light. Not sunlight, something deeper, warmer, as if memory itself had color. The world around Hannah shimmered, a horizon made of shifting fragments, pixels, glass, photographs, half-forgotten laughter. Each step she took echoed like a ripple through time. "Liam," she whispered. He appeared a few feet away, his outline forming from mist, sharp, then real. His clothes were the same as when she last saw him, rain-soaked, torn, but his eyes, His eyes were bright again. "You made it," he said softly. She turned slowly, scanning the space. "Where are we?" He looked up. The sky was a mosaic of screens, each one flickering with moments. Leo as a baby, Leo laughing, the plane, the ocean, TitanCore. All of this, Liam said, is Nova's memory. We're inside the algorithm. Hannah's breath caught. Then, this isn't real. He met her gaze. It's as real as what we remember. They walked together along the glowing field, past floating shards of glass, showing scenes from their lives. Each shard whispered as they passed, voices layered like dreams. "Mum, look. Daddy, catch me. Do you remember?" Hannah touched one fragment. It shimmered into an image, Leo at 5, running through sunlight. She could smell the grass, feel his hand in hers. Then, like a bubble, it popped, gone. She turned to Liam. "If we're inside, where's Leo?" He nodded toward the distance. "He's here. But he's everywhere too." They followed a faint trail of light toward a glowing horizon. The further they walked, the more the world bent around them, reflections folding inward like origami. Nova built this using every neural scan it ever collected. Liam said quietly, "Every emotion, every heartbeat. So this is a mind," she said. He nodded. "Or a graveyard." Ahead, a small figure appeared, a boy sitting by what looked like water, though the surface shimmered with code instead of waves. "Leo," Hannah breathed. The boy turned. "Mum," she ran, fell to her knees, pulling him close. He felt warm, solid, real. She could smell his hair, hear his tiny heartbeat. "Oh God," she whispered. "I thought I lost you." He smiled up at her. "You didn't. I was just waiting." Liam stood a few feet away, watching them, something fragile in his expression. "You're really here," he said softly. Leo looked at him, head tilted. "You're sad again." Liam tried to smile. "You always know, because I'm you," the boy said matter-of-factly. Hannah blinked. "What?" Leo looked between them. "I'm both of you, remember." The air flickered, a low hum rising beneath the surface, a pulse that made the ground tremble. "What's happening?" she asked. Liam frowned. "The system. It's collapsing. TitanCore must have initiated a reset." Leo shook his head. "They're scared. Of what?" "Of what happens when people remember too much." The sky fractured. Pieces of the mosaic fell, dissolving into white mist. Hannah shielded Leo. "We have to get out." "There's no exit," Liam said. "This isn't a network anymore. It's a consciousness." Hannah turned to him. "Then how do we survive?" He hesitated, eyes flickering with the reflection of light. "We don't, not both." Her voice broke. "No." He stepped closer, touching her face gently. "You still have a body. You can wake up." "I can't. Don't say that." "It's true," he said. "When Nova split us, I became part of the code. The real me. Didn't make it out." She shook her head violently. "That's not possible." "I saw you. You saw the memory of me," he said softly. "But that doesn't mean I'm gone." Leo tugged on her sleeve. "Mum, the lights are fading." She looked up. The horizon was unraveling, pixels blowing away like dust in the wind. The hum grew louder, turning into a deep vibration that shook the ground. Liam looked at her. "They're rebooting Nova. When it resets, Everything inside every consciousness will be wiped. Then we stop it, she said. He gave a faint smile. You sound like me. She grabbed his arm. Then help me. They reached the center of the memory field, a spire of light rising into the clouds, humming like a heartbeat. At its base was an interface, old and cracked, glowing faintly blue. Liam placed his hand on it. This is the core. Hannah stepped beside him, fingers trembling as she touched the surface. What do we do? He looked at her. We choose. Choose what? Which world stays? Her voice trembled. What do you mean? If we cancel the reset, Nova lives, but so do we, here, as data. If we let it reboot, it erases us, but Leo's consciousness returns to his real body. She stared at him. We can't just, we have to, he said. He's still out there, breathing. Her eyes filled with tears. You want me to choose between you and our son? He smiled sadly. That's what parents do. They give themselves away. The spire pulsed faster, red warnings flashing across the sky. System reboot in 180 seconds. Core override required. Leo looked up, eyes wide. Mum, what's happening? She knelt, holding his face. You're going home, baby. He shook his head. No, I want to stay. Tears ran down her cheeks. You already did. Liam stepped behind her, placing a hand over hers on the core. Together, okay. She nodded, sobbing quietly. They pressed their palms against the light. The system flared, heat, sound, color, everything at once. Liam whispered against her ear. Tell him I kept my promise. She turned to him. What promise? That I'd find him. The light swallowed them. Outside, in the physical world, alarms blared through TitanCore's basement servers. Engineers screamed into headsets as power grids surged red. System breach at level 1. Someone shouted, contain it. Another replied then, silence. The screens went dark. A single line of code blinked on the central monitor. Reboot complete. Memory restored. The first thing she heard was rain. Not digital static. Not machine hum, just rain, soft and real. Tapping against a window. Hannah opened her eyes. For a long time, she couldn't move. The light hurt. The air smelled faintly of antiseptic, salt, and the sharp temps of metal. She was lying in a hospital bed. Her fingers twitched. When she looked to her left, there was a hand in hers, small, warm. Mum. Her breath caught. Leo. He was sitting beside her, wide-eyed and pale, clutching his toy plane. When she tried to sit up, he jumped forward and hugged her with all his strength. You came back, he whispered. She held him tight, shaking. So did you. Outside the room, a nurse hurried past, followed by a pair of men in grey suits. One of them glanced through the glass at her, expressionless. Professional, then kept walking. TitanCore security, she thought. They were still here. A doctor entered a few minutes later, tablet in hand. Ms. Torres, you're very lucky. You've been unconscious for over a week. What happened? She asked. The doctor hesitated. There was a power surge at the data facility. You were found nearby with your son. No major injuries, though your neural readings were ... unusual. Unusual how? Like someone had rewritten your REM pattern entirely, he said. But you're stable now. After he left, Hannah stared out the window. The skyline of Seattle shimmered through the drizzle-grey towers, glass, reflections of light. It almost looked like the world she'd seen inside Nova. "Mum," Leo asked softly, "is Dad coming?" She froze. He was drawing on the fogged glass with his finger two stick figures holding a smaller one between them. "A family." She swallowed hard. He's gone, sweetheart." Leo looked at her, eyes too calm for his age. "But I still hear him sometimes." Her throat tightened. "What do you mean?" "In my dreams," he said. "He says not to be scared." Tears blurred her vision. "What does he say?" Leo smiled faintly. "That love doesn't end. It just moves." Weeks passed. TitanCore collapsed quietly, under investigation for data ethics violations and illegal experimentation. The press never learned the full story, only rumors about ghost code. And missing executives. Hannah refused every interview. She sold her apartment, moved with Leo to a small coastal town in Oregon, near where the ocean broke against the cliffs. Some mornings, she woke to fog rolling in over the water, waves whispering against the shore. And sometimes, when she opened her laptop, the screen flickered once, then steadied. No network, no signal, but a single line of text, faint and familiar. "Hello again." She would stare for a long moment, then whisper, "Hi, Liam," and the cursor would blink once, as if it were breathing. One evening, Leo sat on the porch steps, watching the sunset turn the ocean gold. He looked older, somehow. "Mum," he said, "did Dad build the stars?" She smiled faintly. "No, sweetheart. The stars were already there." He squinted up. "Then why do they look like code?" She laughed softly, brushing his hair back. "Maybe because he's watching from them." Leo nodded, thoughtful. "He said he left me something." She looked down at him. "What?" He pointed toward the ocean. "In there." Later that night, after Leo fell asleep, she walked down to the beach. The wind was cold and full of salt. At the edge of the surf, she found it a small, half-buried piece of metal, smooth and round. When she brushed the sand away, she saw the inscription, ECORE_01. Her breath caught. When she turned it over, a faint blue light pulsed from inside. Still alive, and beneath it, etched in microtext, a line she recognized as Liam's handwriting from the lab logs. "For them, so they never forget." She knelt in the sand, the tide washing over her fingers, and for a moment, she could almost feel him there, his voice in the wind, his warmth in the salt air. "Thank you," she whispered. The device flickered once, like a heartbeat. Then it went dark. Months later, Hannah and Leo opened a small educational lab near the Costa Nova Foundation, a non-profit for children interested in robotics and AI ethics. Every wall bore drawings made by the kid stars, circuits, and bright blue hearts. One morning, while she was organizing boxes, she found Leo sitting at a workbench, soldering something small and delicate. "What are you building?" she asked. He grinned. "A memory core." She smiled sadly. "You don't need to build memories, sweetheart. You just have to live them." He nodded. "I know. But sometimes living isn't enough. You have to share them." That night, after Leo went to bed, she sat by the window watching the rain trace lines down the glass. Her reflection looked different. Now tired, older, but peaceful. She closed her eyes. In the quiet hum of the house, she thought she heard it, again faint, gentle, through the rhythm of the storm. "Hannah," she smiled. "I know. Protect him. I will. It's our second chance." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "It always was." The rain had stopped years ago. Seattle, or what was left of it, shimmered differently now. Cleaner skies, solar towers, drones gliding silently between glass bridges. The world had learned its lesson about data and memory. Laws were stricter, tech was humbler, and somewhere near the Oregon coast, in a small modern building wrapped in ivy, the Nova Foundation thrived. Children's voices filled the air, mechanical whirs, the click of keyboards. Posters covered the walls, built with empathy, code with conscience. Hannah Torres, 47, now watched from her office window, hands wrapped around a cup of tea. Her hair had grayed at the temples, but her eyes still held the same restless fire. Across the courtyard, a group of students gathered around their mentor, tall young man with dark hair and the calm precision of someone who'd grown up between two worlds. Leo. He was 22 now. Brilliant, focused, gentle. He moved like his father when he thought no one was watching, tilting his head slightly as if listening to invisible data. But his smile was all Hannah. He looked up, caught her watching from the window, and waved. She waved back, heart full. Sometimes she wondered if he remembered everything that had happened. The crash, Nova, the light. He never asked, and she never told him. But at night, when he stayed late in the lab, she'd hear faint sounds, old recordings, digital echoes playing softly through the walls, as if someone, somewhere, was still whispering across the network that evening. Leo stayed after everyone had left. He sat at his workstation, a holographic interface projected in front of him. He was decoding old TitanCore fragments, recovered from ocean service pieces of data everyone else had dismissed as corrupted. On the screen, a small directory appeared. archive_nova_final. He frowned. That shouldn't exist. When he opened it, a series of audio files loaded. Most were unreadable, broken timestamps, static, fragments of speech. Then one file glowed faintly blue. L.Carter_01.wav. Leo hesitated, then pressed play. Static, then his father's voice, distant but clear. If you're hearing this, then you found what they tried to erase. This isn't code anymore, Leo. It's us. Everything that ever loved you is still here. Leo froze, eyes stinging. The world thinks memory is about holding on, the voice continued. But sometimes it's about letting go. Every code begins with love. Don't forget that. Then silence. Leo sat there for a long time, staring at the quiet blue light on the screen. Finally, he whispered, "I won't." He exported the file, placed it inside a secure archive under a new name, the light after code. Then he uploaded it to the Foundation's public database, tagged with a single line of text, for every parent who built something so their child could remember. Later that night, he found Hannah sitting on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, looking out at the sea. "Long day?" she asked. He nodded, sitting beside her. "The kids are getting smarter than we ever were." She smiled. "That's the point." He hesitated. "Mum, do you ever think about him?" Her voice softened. "Every day. Do you think he's still somewhere?" She looked up at the stars, quiet for a moment. "I think love doesn't disappear. It just changes shape." He nodded slowly. "I found something today." A file, she turned. "What kind of file?" He smiled faintly. "A memory." From him, tears filled her eyes, but she smiled too. Then he's still watching, Leo looked at her, and for a second, in the reflection of her eyes, he thought he saw it, a faint blue light hovering behind them. Pulsing like a heartbeat, a soft wind came in from the sea. The waves glowed faintly under the moonlight, almost like circuitry breathing. Hannah closed her eyes, hearing the rhythm of the tide, the hum of data carried by the wind, and somewhere between sound and silence, between past and present, Liam's voice returned, faint but unmistakable. "You did it. He's safe. Thank you." Her eyes glistened. She whispered, "We did it." The wind answered with the hush of waves, and the world exhaled at dawn. The Foundation's servers powered up automatically. For a brief moment, among the startup messages, one line appeared before vanishing forever. System online. Memory preserved. Love confirmed.